Hello, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking. And today we're going to talk about. Well, let me first say this. I've been a paranormal researcher for over 50 years. Researcher? I'm a paranormal researcher for over 50 years. And, over the last probably 15 years or so, I came across something I call dimensional vortex photography. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly what that all is because I've already done that in another video. So if you want to see about vortex photography, you can go on Dimensional Walking and you'll find that video. Two videos, actually. But by doing the vortex photography, I kind of realized because in some cases I was able to pick up things like, Sasquatch, fairy people, wee people, spirits, forest spirit beings, ET types, all kinds of interesting creatures and beings. So I was just sitting here the other day saying to myself, hey, if all those things possibly do exist, and I'm going to say possibly, I'm not going to say 100%, but possibly exist, then one thing I haven't really talked about was mermaids and mermen, or they call it merfolks, is what some people do call it. So I went out and basically did some research and gathered some information. Actually, talked to a few people that had some kind of firsthand knowledge of the subject matter. And so, anyways, that's what I'm going to do a video on today. I'm going to give you some history. I'm going to get you some of my feelings about it, etc. So, let's start off with a little history. And the history is in 1493, I believe, Columbus actually reported seeing three female forms. This was over close to Hispaniola in the Caribbean when he was doing his thing, discovering, I guess some people would say he didn't discover America, but obviously he was discovering the Caribbean and etc. And he came across these three forms that rose out of the water and basically looked at him and his crew, and he put that in his log. So that was kind of the first, I guess we'll call it the white man's comments about merfolks. And then there was also in the English pirate named Blackbeard, in his logs, he wrote about that that they had also seen him and his crew over a period of time had seen these mermaids or mermen, and actually they were quite fearful of them because there was rumors that they were very enchanting and they could glamour a person or a whole ship to give up their gold and also sink their ship, basically. So he would always try to go around these areas that he thought were going to have mermen and mer people, I guess we'll call them. So he would go ahead and steer away from them and tell his crew that he doesn't want to go to these certain areas when he was doing his pirating things. So anyways, there was also sightings, some fairly famous sightings in 1870 and 1890 that were reported in Canada, around Vancouver and Victoria Island. There were sightings. And there were also, in 2009, actually, there was some sightings in Israel, off the coast of Israel, that quite a few people from the beach saw. These mermaids were leaping out of the water, and they were doing aerobatics, or up in the air, jumping and flipping and doing everything else. And the thing about it is, you got to remember, a lot of these people, yes, somebody's going to say, well, they're probably dolphins or porpoises or something. But in a lot of these things that I read and did research on, it was quite apparent that these people were seeing something other than that. And a lot of them saw them at pretty close up. So they did see something completely different. One of the things I have to go back on was Columbus. Apparently, Columbus made a comment that he had heard of these mer people before his trip. So it isn't that they weren't. This was brand new to them. They kind of had an idea, but they were actually told. He makes a comment in his log saying that they really weren't very nice looking. They were fairly ugly, or something to that effect. They were badly misrepresented by what he heard previously. So when he saw it in person, it was completely a different looking creature. So anyways, so let's just talk about what some of the descriptions are. So they're depicted as having upper human type torsos and a humanoid type face. But then, of course, lower extremities, the appendages basically are fins, etc. And the females had breasts, and the male and the females both had genitals, human type genitals. They would talk in kind of lower whispers, and typically nothing could be understood by humans. Their skin was thin and frail and very pale white in color. And this is a description, and I kept on all these things I just told you, is a description I got looking through a lot of information on mermaids and mermens. So anyway, so that was pretty standard type procedure as far as that goes. Now, one of the other things I ran across was that the government had been doing, the United States government, and I think other governments, but we'll talk about the United States government for a minute, the Navy, had a period of time back in the 70s and 80s, 1970s and 1980s, had done a major project with sonar. And they had actually, obviously, sonar can be harmful, especially to creatures like porpoises and whales, etc. And I guess they came across, and I don't think they did this purposely. I think they were doing their experiments and their projects, and they came across a large pod of whales. And apparently it disoriented them terribly, and apparently killed some of them. And they also, I guess, a bunch of them beached up. And I believe this was up in Washington area, or the state of Washington. And so they actually, in the mix of these creatures or fish or whales, mammals type whales, in this kind of pod, they actually found, rumor has it now, and I read it several different places, that they found in there something else. And they seem to describe it very similar to a mermaid type creature. Again, it had very, very kind of long hair, also stringy long hair, and had it kind of like a monkey face. And somebody, in one of the articles I read, somebody described it sort of like what you would think the creature from the Black Lagoon would look like. So, anyways, again, it looked like kind of a hybrid type entity. I even did read something. Somebody thought it was like a small kind of Sasquatchy looking creature. Anyways, so that was that. Then I had talked to somebody from one time that was from Papua New Guinea, and they were telling me about what they had heard about an island northeast of Australia, and it was called New Ireland. And he had talked to some people there, and they swore that there's a place in New Ireland where you could go, at least the natives could go, and could actually see the mermaids and the mermen. There was a place where they would swim and they would fish, and the natives could actually go there and watch them from a distance, doing their thing almost on a daily basis. They said it was not, it wasn't anything that, it was an occasional. It was something that could be done, and the people of that particular island or part of that island knew about this. And he had never gone, but he said he wanted to, and people he was talking to would assured him that he could go if he'd come. They would take him to this place, this island, this part of the island where you could view from a cliff. I think it was like from a cliff or something. Could view down on these mermaid and actually see them. And he said if he ever did it, he was gonna get a hold of me. He was gonna send me an email and tell me all about it. I haven't heard from him yet, but maybe someday I'll get that really cool email. Okay, so then there was another story that came that I had read about, and I actually asked this gentleman about this to talk to his contacts at New Ireland and see if this was true, because I had also heard that there was village people in the same region that would actually go out and kill these mermaid and mermen and eat them. Now I don't know how true that was, but apparently they had people had found on the beaches these carcasses of creatures which could have been fish, but the difference was that the remains were very bloody. As you know, if it was fish are cold water. They do not have a lot of blood in them. Humans and human-related mammals have a lot of blood. Now, again, a porpoise would probably have quite a bit more blood than a regular, I would call a regular fish would. But they swear that people have eaten them, mermaids and mermen have been eaten by some villagers. So I don't know if that's true. I hope it's not. I hope it was just some folk tale that was being told. That would really be sad if we were eating them. So that would be sort of like on the same thing as shooting a Sasquatch or something. That would not be good. So anyways, I hope that's perked your interest in merfolks. Is it real? I have a feeling, yeah. I have a feeling, yeah, I think there's something to this. I think there's a pretty good history of it. The way this guy that I talked to, he had talked to some of his people, his contacting people, he felt pretty comfortable with what he was hearing, that they did exist and they were real. Now, I know we haven't caught any, but I don't think there's that many of them. I don't think they're like fish in the ocean or whales or porpoises, but I do believe it's a distinct possibility. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it at least got you interested in it so you can do some of your own research. And that's it. If you like us, we need your subscriptions. We now have, I just want to announce, we do have over 100 videos on our website. And I want you to always remember, these are our original research, our original thoughts, some of our original experiences. So anyways, that's it. We'll see you another day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.